What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of Paint Society. In this episode, I'm going to show you how to restore your old paint job and how to seal it up with a very user-friendly, do-it-yourself ceramic coating. Now, let's bring the car in. This is a 2005 Honda Accord. It's actually my first car I ever owned, and well, we're bringing it back to where I learned how to paint in my parents' garage right here. So let me show you the paint and we'll show you what we're going to do to bring it back. Now, this is not an original paint job. Around maybe 6 or 7 years ago, I did sand it down, take it all apart, and I painted it in a garage and cut the whole thing flat. Now, the paint still looks good on it, but it has been sitting outside, so it has a lot of watermarks, and it really doesn't have the coating it needs to really protect it from the Florida sun. And to get it to shine, I've been using waxes along the way, and it just don't last maybe a good 2 to 3 months, and after that there's no protection on the car. So the coating we're going to be using today is from Avalon King, and I've used it once before, and this is all you'll need to coat your whole entire car, this little bottle. And this is actually clear coat. Really, it's a clear coat you apply by hand. And being a painter, I understand what a difference there is between a clear coat and a conventional wax. But before we get into all the great effects of a ceramic coating, there's a certain type of prep that needs to be done, and it starts with a wash treatment first. So we're going to start with the prep shampoo, and this is going to take off all the contaminants from the car and get it all ready for our polishing. And we need to polish the car first, because when you ceramic coat, anything that is on the surface will get locked in with the ceramic coat. Now, there are some scratches and chips along the way that we can't really do too much about, but our main focus is protecting the car and getting more shine, the shine that this car really never had. So this is 1 ounce per 1 gallon. So it's roughly around that. And we'll put about, we'll do 2 gallons of water. So we'll add another ounce. We'll fill this up. And that should be good. So we'll go ahead and pull the car back out into the Florida sun. And it is a hot one. So you want to make sure that once you pull this car back in, before we concentrate on buffing, that the car is given enough time to properly cool off. Now, the cleaning process isn't really too in-depth. All you gotta do is just wash your car. You don't need anything really special. I like to use a nylon type brush, very soft, and this is good to get around the car. And after it's all washed, well, we're ready to pull it in. You don't need to go crazy. I like to still leave the water on it, and I'll show you why. We're gonna pull it in right away. Florida sun will really heat this car up, and you never wanna buff on a car or apply any waxes on a car when it is hot. You're gonna be working against yourself. So the next step is we're going to be using a clay bar. Now, we want to keep this as do-it-yourself as possible. This is not a professional paint repair video. This is how to fix your own paint in your garage, and this is the first step you need to take, because prep is the most important part. Now, this clay bar has been used a lot, but in order to get to a clean side, all you got to do is kind of turn it and mash it around a little bit, and you'll get some clean clay. Now, what does a clay bar do? So what a clay bar does is it removes any surface contamination, any fallout or anything that's settled on the surface. If I run my hand on the surface of the vehicle, I can feel that it's got a little bit of roughness to it, and we can't just buff right on top of that. We need to make sure it's nice and smooth, and that's what the clay bar will do. And all we're going to use is water. We don't need to buy any detailing spray for this. And to do this, I'm just going to use the water and the water that's still on the car, and we'll work a small section. Now, anything that we do today is about a 2x2 section. That's all we're really going to focus on. And if we're rubbing it back and forth, we can feel in here that the sound of it gets a lot smoother. So once you do that, you can be able to tell and look at your block and see that it's much dirtier, and also feel that the car is much smoother. So repeat this process over the whole entire car, and as it gets dirty, just keep on moving the clay to a cleaner side. After the clay bar, well, you can feel it's nice and smooth. And this is the first step to being able to apply a ceramic coat is having a finish that doesn't have any sort of contamination on the surface. Now moving on to our next stage is going to be the polishing stage. Well, to get that shine out and remove any scratches before we coat it. Now, I'm not going to complicate things. This is not a professional detail. We're just looking to clean up this car in our home garage, and for that I prefer this compound because it's an all-in-one. Now, if you have really heavy duty scratches and, well, oxidation, then you would use the wool pad, which is generally going to be more aggressive. So they'll tell you to use the wool pad and then you'll switch over to the foam. Now for our vehicle, it's not that bad, so we're just going to go ahead with the foam pad. And it comes with an actual backing pad. Now, this is a Milwaukee buffer. It's a little bit more pricey, but if you're really interested in buffing and polishing your own paint jobs, this is the buffer to do it. We're going to be using this buffer around 900 to 1200 RPM. We don't want to go all the way up to 2000. If we go up to 2000, it's too much heat and we can burn the paint, so we want to be very cautious. Now, what's the reason why we need a rotary buffer? It's because it creates friction, and that friction with the compound polish will help bring back that shine and polish out any of the scratches we have on the surface. So we're looking to take this old faded paint really on this hood and really bring the shine back, and that's what we're going to get out of the buffer. But when we top coat it with the ceramic, it's going to be a new clear right on the surface. It's going to look amazing. This is a very easy project, so you can even get your family out here to help you out. What you're going to do is want to get a little bit of compound on the surface. You want to put too much. I like to kind of put a grid system, and that way we're not slinging compound all over the place. So a quadrants of about 12 inches apart. So we're going to work one area at a time, and then we'll move on to the rest of the car. After that first pass, you can see we have much more of a shine than we do over here. You see the dullness. Now, still, if we look closely, the paint is pretty beat up, so we're really hoping the ceramic coating can come through and shine this up and really protect it. We're going to take this whole type of technique we did on the hood. We're going to pass it over the whole entire car. We're not going to go too aggressive. We're going to tape off any areas that we don't want our compound, or we don't want to burn these moldings, just to protect ourselves. Just finished with all of the compound polish, and our M18 battery still has 2 bars left on it, so it'll get you around the whole car. A little bit heavier than most, but it does a great job. Now let's talk about where we need to go from this point. We've polished the car and the paint is looking much better, although there are some areas that just, you know, are dead areas. The paint is just too far gone. So when we apply the ceramic coating, we're going to see what it does. But before we apply the ceramic coating, we need to make sure every little bit of compound polish is off and all the haze, because if we go ahead and put on our ceramic coating on top of any of the haze, it's going to lock it in. And I realized how good the ceramic coating is once you have to try to take it off. And we don't want to get to that point. So we're going to take a little extra time to really wipe down the car and change rags as much as possible and get off all of the compound or haze that's still left on the paint. After it's all been wiped down, we can see that the car does look good on camera, but up close, we can see how worn out the car paint is. It's got some issues here where, let's say, bird debris or something landed on top and just baked into the clear coat. Now that's something that the ceramic coat will definitely help out with. And on the hood, just so much road debris. And we can see that the little tight areas on the hood where it looks like it's breaking down, that's the clear coat starting to fail. So we're going to look to get a little more extra protection out of the ceramic coating so we can hopefully keep the paint alive for a couple more years before we repaint it. So we're getting to the fun part now. I told you guys earlier that A wax will give you a couple months, and well, it will look really good. The difference here is the ceramic. Well, this is like clear coating your car without a paint gun. So this will create a hydrophobic surface on your car. It will bond with the paint surface, and it's going to make it a lot easier to clean. Bugs won't stick, bird droppings, all that. But what really matters here is it's going to really make the car shine. It's going to go into those little scratches, it's going to fill them in, and it's going to create a shine. So that's what I'm hoping it does, especially on those top surfaces. So here's how it works. It comes with this little kit, and it's everything you pretty much need. Now, if this is a brand new car, you can go right to this step. You don't have to do any of the buffing like I just did. So this is the applicator pad, and then it's going to come with a towel, which you'll need. A couple gloves. Since this stuff is kind of like clear coat, you do want to protect your hands wearing the appropriate safety wear. So it also comes with a couple, or I think maybe 3 applicator pads. Now the reason why you need a few is because once the clear coat or the ceramic coat gets on here, you'll find that this will get very hard and brittle, and it's no longer useful. So the way you do it is you're going to take your applicator pad, and in the kit you'll get the applicator and the card. Now this will wrap around. I already have one side tucked in, and there's a groove on this side, right? So this is the way I'm doing it. You'll take the card and you'll just find that groove and then tuck her in, just like that. And you have your little applicator pad, which this can be changed out. And well, a little bit goes a long way, so make sure you shake it up. Now you can do a line right down the middle, and you'll find that the best way to do this is to work those small sections. So we're going to work a section just like this, I would say 2 by 2 foot section, and then you'll put it down the middle. Now, if you've ever been to a nail salon, this kind of smells just like walking into a nail salon. So I put a little bit down the middle, just like that. And the way I'm going to work it in is just by going side by side, and I'll show you when you wipe it off. So we'll work small sections just like this, and what I'll do is I'll go back and forth. Now I can tell, since this was the first pass using this dry cloth, I'm going to need a little bit more. I'll put just a little bit more on and just work it in. Now I find that the best shine comes once this ceramic coat is cured. So you might not see it look amazing right away, but once it hardens up, that's when the shine really comes. So how do we know when to buff it? Well, we're going to give it some time, and once it kind of looks like a rainbow effect, that's when we know we can buff it off. So we'll continue with the rest of the hood. So I'll just do little drops like a line every time I make my 2 by 2 pass. And you want to stay as even as possible because you are putting the coating on it, and if you miss a spot, well, it's not going to be protected there, and you'll notice it. And you can put this on any plastics or even the headlights, so that's just what I'm going to do. I'm going to coat the headlights because once these headlights start to fog up or yellow, then it's a pain to have to restore them. It's really easy to apply it. It's not hard at all. This is probably the easiest part. The hardest part, I would say, is doing all the buffing and taking the time to get the paint as clean as possible. But what I noticed with this is you really get the full effects about maybe 24 to 48 hours after you really see the shine come to life. That's because the coating hardens, and as it hardens, what I feel is it brings a better shine and clarity to the vehicle. We're working in sections, so I did the hood, the fender, the door, and the quarter panel, and we can see that it's got a little bit of that rainbow haze, just a little bit. That would show me or tell me that it's ready to go. So we'll take our black towel, and it's just as easy as this. We'll wipe it off, okay? And we can see the difference already. And on the fender, we'll do the same thing. Just wipe it right off. You can see my reflection. That's a good sign. You know, most of your side panels are really gonna look good. It's those horizontal panels that really take a beating, you know? Those horizontal panels are just sitting and cooking underneath the sun if you don't keep your car in a garage. So those are gonna be the toughest ones to get a shine out of, right? But these side panels, wow. It's looking like the day I painted it in my garage. And there'll be a haze, just keep on working that haze off. You'll see the rainbow if you look down the side of the car. Just keep on looking and keep on wiping. You wanna make sure you get it all off. Moving along to the quarter panel on this side, we already have the driver's side all wiped down. And this is a good time to start on this side because we're working in sections along the way. Now, if you read the directions, you'll find that you really need to wait up to 48 hours before, subjecting this to any bird droppings or anything of that matter. So if you have the time, if you have another car that you can wait, allow this to really cure before, let's say you wash it, before it rains, before you rub up against it. Because the coating, although we wipe it off, it's still physically drying and obtaining that gloss at the same time. And finishing up on the passenger side, just like painting a car, we like to take it over the gap, and I'm working about a 3 by 3 foot section right now, keeping about a 75% overlap. And what this does is will ensure that you're getting equal coats on the car, equal coverage, all right? That way you don't have any spots that are, thin or too heavy. Applying with medium pressure. Okay, I am kind of pushing it just a little bit into the paint, but not too much, but also not allowing it to glide because we want to make sure that it gets in to all those little crevices, or if we have any little scratches we missed, this is going to help coat those very well. And once more, coming around the complete car, also coating the headlight. Now you can coat as many things as you want. You can do the windows, you can do the moldings, whatever it is. It won't get you into trouble or discolor or anything. Just gonna protect it. Just gotta follow the same exact method. Wipe on, let it haze to a rainbow type shine, and then you can go ahead and wipe it off. Then all we'll have left to do is to wipe it off on everywhere that we applied. Go over the roof. The roof is really bad. And after we pull it out and wipe it down, this is what it looks like. Let's let it continue to cure just like the directions say, and then we'll take a better look at it once it's all cured up in the coming days. And 48 hours later, we can see that the gloss has intensified just a bit, and it is completely hard. Now, they do say do avoid snow, rain, and as much as you can between 4 and 7 days after the ceramic coating, but you can see the brilliance of the paint, the way it shines. Now, we could have spent a little bit extra time buffing on those top surfaces, but I was concerned about how much paint was left. And you don't want to burn through the paint. Now, we did get some bird poop just a few days later, so I was able to wipe it right off with some water. And with the hydrophobic bond between the paint, you can see how the water just sheets right off. And we have the protection we need, and it's a good feeling knowing that I've done something to prolong the life of the vehicle. Now, if we reverse a couple weeks ago, I did ceramic coat the Acura TL, and wow, since the paint was really good on here, it really did it justice. I mean, this thing is shining. So what we're going to go ahead and do is we're going to take care of it. Now, they do suggest using their car shampoo and their mitt, and this was actually the first wash since I ceramic coated it. Now, that's 2 ounces for every 2 gallons on the shampoo, and it does foam up pretty well. You can see the water comes off the car already after 2 weeks, and we have a good amount of suds here just to make sure it's all nice and clean and protect it. Now, this will be put back into the garage, so I will get that 2-year lifespan that the product claims. And even a couple weeks later, you can see the bond between the surface and the water just sheets right off. So when it comes to drying, it's really easy. With just one pass, you completely collect all the water off the surface. So not only have you protected the car, but you made your life that much easier when it comes to cleaning your own vehicles. And that's going to wrap things up for this video on how to restore your old paint. Now, I still have one more kit to do, and one bottle will do the whole entire car. Now, on this particular vehicle, since it is brand new, we can skip step number 2, the polishing stage, but you're still gonna need to do step number 1, which is the pre-wash and the clay bar. This vehicle has been traveling to your dealership and then to your home, so it's picked up some little debris along the way, so we want to make sure the contamination is completely taken off of the vehicle. Now, if you guys have learned something in this video and you want to support the channel, head over to paintsocietystore.com, check out the merch. And until the next one, guys, this is Brian from Paint Society reminding you, don't overthink it, it's just paint. I'll see you guys on the next one.